Okay. We are streaming now. I'm going to give it a moment so that everybody can catch up. Well, good evening, everybody. Before I begin, I just want to take a moment to make sure that my audio is coming in clear, that you can hear me. Cookie, if you'll just say hello, please.
Hello.
And Cam, please.
Good evening.
All right. I just want to make sure that you guys can hear us. In fact, if somebody would give me a heads up in the chat room for Twitch.tv, I'd appreciate it, please.
Looks like it's clear.
Okay. All right. So we will begin. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here today to remember the life of Shawn Airborne Williams, who passed away on May 27th, 2015. It is, first of all, it is unbelievable the turnout that we are seeing here at the Mark Valentine Memorial here on Starfleet Academy. So many of his friends, so many of his fleet mates, so many of his colleagues are here to pay respects to a man that perhaps some of us never even met in real life. But that's the wonder of an environment and an atmosphere and genre of the MMO, right? And gaming, and what is gaming, is that you may never have shook hands, but the friendships are strong. The friendships are powerful, and can move mountains. So much has already been said about Airborne. You know, particularly that he was a strong human being. I wrote in my blog regarding his passing that he could be crass, he could be brutally honest, but he loved us and we loved him. And it was because he was committed to the community. He was committed to making sure that not only was the Priority 1 fleet flourishing, but that even if you weren't a part of the fleet, if you were a guest on our TeamSpeak server, that you were taken care of, that you were respected, and that you were having an excellent gaming experience, whether you were playing Star Trek Online or any other game and just hanging out with everybody in TeamSpeak. He was committed, 100%. He was committed to this fleet. He was committed to his projects. He was committed to getting the job done, as I mentioned in that blog. You know, he took the stream for us. He supported this podcast by taking the live stream, this very live stream on Twitch.tv for several months, and leading the community in gaming and Star Trek Online by hosting it. He wanted to support our show, Priority 1 Podcast, in any which way he could, and he was never shy about expressing that. And there was nothing that I could ask that was too much for him. And in the last week, it solidifies meeting so many people, having been reached out to by so many people on Facebook, in game, via email. It solidifies the type of man that he was. It shows that he didn't just touch our lives here on Priority 1 and in Star Trek Online, but he touched lives around the world. And that he was, in fact, a great, loyal human being. So tonight we honor him here in front of the Valentine Memorial, this eternal flame that is that was installed here in Star Trek Online to remember those who have been lost. Because, like at the end of Wrath of Khan, as long as we remember him, he's never really gone. So at this time, I'd like to have a moment of silence to remember Shawn Airborne Williams and the amazing man that he was. So we'll take that moment of silence now. At this time, I'd like to open the floor to a few people who have wanted to say a few words about Airborne. First, I received a message from Karabakh of the Studio 11 Bravo, and they write, if we could please read this on behalf of them, that Shawn Williams was a friend, a co-worker, and a fellow gamer. But most of all, he was a good man, and he will be missed, but never forgotten. Studio 11 Bravo and his comrades there met at a tournament at 21CW, and since then began working with Shawn on developing a first-person shooter. And in honor of him, they will continue the project and make sure that it gets done in the very fashion that Airborne himself would want. So I now open it up to Cookie. Would you like to go first, or Cam?
Sure. One of the things I really liked about Airborne is he was so funny. He always made me laugh. And sometimes his jokes were quite colorful and not meant for general audiences. But he tried to tone it down when I was in the room, which was really sweet. He always showed me so much respect and tried to be respectful. So a lot of times when things happened that he could possibly make a joke about, you could kind of tell he was holding back, and he would always say, "I ain't saying nothing." And it was so funny. He said that so many times when I was around, and I just knew he's just holding back something really funny. But I still say that now. I'm gonna continue to say that and think of him, because he was always so funny.
Cam?
This hits pretty close to home. I might not have known Shawn Airborne as well as a lot of you people. I'm pretty new here. I've only been around for a few months, but no offense to the rest of you guys, Airborne was like my favorite person here, and we hit it off right away. I don't know exactly what it was. Maybe it's our, we had a lot in common about our past and our life experiences. The best way I guess I can describe it is talking with Shawn, talking with Airborne, was like sitting down and talking with an old war buddy. And I really did like Shawn, and Airborne, I really don't regret meeting you, getting to know you. What I do regret is that I didn't get to know you any better.
Yeah, he always made people feel so comfortable. I noticed that about him. He was really easy to talk to.
Great guy, very welcoming.
And, again, that is absolutely reflected in the turnout that we're seeing here this evening, not just in game in Star Trek Online, but through the viewers right now on twitch.tv, as well as in our TeamSpeak channel. We have friends new and old that have come here to pay their respects to him in the best way that we can, that we all can. We may not be able to go to his hometown and attend whatever services that they may be holding for him. But the beauty about the world of gaming is that although we are miles apart, sometimes we couldn't be much closer. We couldn't be any closer, even though those miles separate us. I want to pull something out again from the blog that I wrote that Airborne again was nothing but real, and he told you how it was, good or bad. And again, he was dedicated not only to Star Trek Online, but he found a band of brothers and sisters within the Priority One community, within the Star Trek Online community, like he did when he proudly served it for the United States of America. He was a veteran. He served and protected our rights. And you see that again on his Facebook wall, from his comrades, his brothers in arms. And again, he formed a new family or an extended family with us. There is no doubt that he was a great man. People have come from all over on his own personal Facebook wall, again, contacting us to pay their respects, to share in our sorrow and our mourning, because Airborne was one of a kind. He was indeed one of a kind.
And he was such a hard worker.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed his work ethic was amazing. I had asked him to record something for a project that I was working on a couple months ago, and he was actually in the hospital with a blood clot. And he recorded the bit for me as soon as he got home, didn't even take a break, didn't even rest. He just recorded it and sent it immediately. And I was like, no, get some rest. You don't have to worry about this.
And that's who he was.
Yeah.
That's who he was. He was dedicated. He was determined, and I'll never forget it. I'll never forget unfortunately, one of the last conversations I had with him, where the pressure, I could tell that the pressure may have mounted. But when I made the mistake of asking Airborne, yo, do you want to take a break? He replied very frankly, very matter-of-factly, no, we have a job to do. Let's get this job done. That was him. That was Airborne. That was who he was. There was no break. There was no taking a step back. It was plowing through it and getting the job done. And that's, as I mentioned in our episode, that's what we're gonna do. Airborne would want us to celebrate his life and get the job done, whatever job it may be, whether it means for Studio 11 Bravo to continue a project, or for Priority One to continue on week to week, developing a show for him and people like him, people who are committed to this community in ways that he was. So with that, I think we will close this this brief service here on Starfleet Academy. Again, remembering the life that we were able to share with Shawn Airborne Williams. On behalf of Priority One Podcast, on behalf of the Priority One Fleet, we mourn with you all, with his family and with his friends. Our thoughts are with you. And again, to Airborne.
To Airborne.
To Airborne.
Again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us this evening on twitch.tv/Priority One. Thank you for the turnout. Thank you for your respectful attendance here, and to his friends who joined us.
Are we online right now?
Yeah, we're still online. We're still online. We will continue to remember him. Have a good evening, everyone.